Space, the final frontier. Well, okay, not really. All right, take two. Here in the Mitten State, welcome to Code 47, bringing you all things Star Trek, spanning the quadrants, the best thing since the neutral zone.
Hey, Trekkers of West Michigan and all points beyond. This is the Code 47 podcast on the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. I am your humble servant, Trek Lord of West Michigan, Charlie Carden, joined by Trek Lord of West Michigan, number 2, my cohort, Peter Stein. Peter, good evening.
Good evening.
All right, we've got a great show for you today, and we got some huge news, like something big happened to us this week. It's kind of crazy, but we'll jump right on into it. But we're still in the programming of doing a random episode. Plus, we're still in our top 5, bottom 5. So our random episode is an episode of Deep Space Nine, first season, which was great because I feel like I've not been back to that in like a super long time. And then we're tackling Lower Decks with the top 5 and bottom 5, which was such a beloved series. I mean, it was a little challenging. There's no doubt about it. But I think we did well. I think we understood the assignment. But let's talk about some big news. And then we have a trailer to talk about. We have a final-ish trailer for season 4 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which we'll have here next month. But big honking news. After 4 years after I had a conversation with Mr. Bill Smith at Mission Chicago in 2022, a couple of weeks ago, Bill, along with his partner Dan, approached us about becoming part of the Trek Geeks network. Trek Geeks is an extremely well-respected network of Star Trek podcasts that span the known universe, and we are now a part. So you may very well be listening to this from grabbing us from their website, which is totally awesome. Welcome to our show. To give you the super quick encapsulation of not only the show and kind of what we do, I have been making this show with my former co-host, who is my college roommate, since 2014. We started with a general pop culture podcast, which became a video game podcast, which is no longer produced. Then it became this show in the fall of 2020, and it was followed by a Star Wars podcast that Peter and I since took the reins when the guy who I started that show with left. So we have 4 shows ranging from weekly to bi-weekly. The 4th show is a great interview program that we have called Spotlight. We interview creators, we interview actors. A lot of it is Star Trek focused, but a lot of it is also comic focused and kind of other stuff. That show has proliferated and changed as time gone by. That is a weekly show. So if this is your introduction to us, find us over on our website. That is where you find all of our podcasts and links. We also have a LinkTree, but it's secretfriendsunite.com. All of our podcasts are there. But we're excited to have you here. We're excited to be a part of Bill's squad. So this is going to be a little longer episode while I do all these reads and talk about different stuff. But we're super psyched about that. We'll use this space in the future to also redirect people over to our website, so it'll be a little shorter. But on behalf of Peter and myself and April, my wife, who is our kind of silent producer and business manager, for lack of a better term, we're super psyched to be a part of this big family, along with the Trek Geeks main show, the Sci-Fi Sisters, Crusher Convo, and a lot of other new shows that are joining on board. So welcome to our show, and we're thrilled to be here. Something that we do have that's a little bit of bonus when you join with us, and we had a lot of fun. April and myself attended Star Trek Long Island and Hapog, New York, just this past weekend, is we signed people up for the free version of our Secret Friends Unite Patreon, which you can find over at patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. We just love to have people sign up for free so you can just see what we're posting and see what's coming out. But if you do chip in for as little as $2 a month, and that's after saving half off of that for your first month and your first week for free with audio, you get exclusive shows, including a great program that Peter and I are winding down, where we're covering the greatest sci-fi show of the 21st century, which is Ron Moore's Battlestar Galactica. All of our shows come out early. This show, for example, comes out on a Monday, but it'll be out the weekend prior when you are a Patreon, and an exclusive channel for our Discord over on our Discord for our Patreon members. So again, that's patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. Just sign up for free. We would just absolutely love to see you there, regardless, just to see you kind of checking us out and seeing what we're doing as we take you through the world of pop culture. All right. Actual news. So taking a break from the plug-in. Strange New Worlds will be upon us on July 23. So we have what I think looks like a final trailer, but you never know. There could be something further even as we get a little closer to San Diego Comic-Con. Star Trek is supposed to have a presence there at that annual largest comic pop culture, event in the world. So there could be more. But for now, we've got this trailer. Peter, I've been talking for 5 minutes and 15 seconds now. So now it's your turn. Talk to me about this trailer.
All right. So the trailer gives us like snippets from various episodes. Probably, I think, like similar to the last one, I would imagine it's just the first like 4.
Right.
I think that's what the trailer for the last season did. Just the first 4 episodes with like maybe one shot from another one.
Right.
So what it looks like is we're getting, obviously we're getting some more adventure stuff. It looks like we're going to lean in a little bit more to some of Pike's temporal contemplations, I suppose, for lack of a better term.
Right.
Because they had a scene with him and M'Benga talking about past, future, whatever. So they're starting to have Pike think about moving on, which is clearly going to ultimately result in him leaving the Enterprise.
Right.
At the end of season 5, I would imagine. So that's a little interesting. We don't get a whole lot of other details. We see like all the familiar faces.
Right.
So there is an admiral who I'm not sure who it's supposed to be, because it's not the same guy who plays April.
Okay, right.
So I don't know who it is. I don't know who he's supposed to be. Like originally when I saw the back of his head, I was like, oh, it's April. And he turned around and I saw his face. Like, that's not who that is.
Right.
So not sure what's up with that.
Another Badmiral. I hope not, since April is a great guy, and it's just so rare that we, who are our great guy admirals? We have Kirk and we have April, and Picard was okay. He had his moments.
I mean, Admiral Paris eventually is fine when we see him in Voyager. Nechayev is tough but decent.
Yeah.
Hansen was great, and he got blowed up. But
yeah, right. You get a lot of like, or Admiral Hayden, who is the guy we saw a couple of times, and
a lot of the admirals that we don't hear about are usually the good one. Like we don't see in person, like Admiral Nagura
coming in and making trouble. Yeah, exactly. So
so we also see the cowboy episode shot.
Yes,
that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
We also see the T-Rex. They have a T-Rex.
We have T-Rex.
So yeah, the only thing that I'm a little weird, like a little, I don't know. We've talked about this before, where they are leaning a little bit into the Kirk Spock thing. Like Kirk is clearly going to be another heavy presence in this season.
Yeah,
which we've talked about. Where it's like, okay, but they're doing that to build up the relationship, because there's, unlike the written stuff that came out before, where Kirk and Spock met each other at the Academy. In this version, they've never met until the ship. So they have to build the relationship that way, so that they're friends when Kirk is in command of the Enterprise. And they make a joke about that sometime at the end of the trailer, where it's like, you'll be able to like harass your new commanding officer, and it's like raised eyebrow. It's like, the audience knows.
Oh, that'll never happen. Yeah, exactly.
So there's going to be more of that, and I'm not sure what I think about that, just because I know that we've been historically rather like,
and he's in the promo art too. If you look at the promo art from this blurb that we pulled, and again, we usually pull from Trek
heavily in the promo art this time more than last time. So
exactly. So and I did see another headline about like, well, both Ethan Peck and Paul Wesley very excited and want to hear something about year one. It's like, I think we all know pretty firmly, and I did a kitchen chats on this a couple of days ago, so you may have seen that on our YouTube channel or on my socials, or on the at the C3, or at any of the Secret Friends Unite socials, is that we're going into hibernation time, and this is something definitely I talked with people about at Trek Long Island, is that there isn't anything coming down the pike right now. No pun intended. It would be incredible if we got some kind of announcement of something at, either at San Diego Comic-Con or when September rolls around to Star Trek Day. I would love to see that they're going to make something beautiful out of Star Trek Day on September 8th, which, for a couple of years, that was a big deal. And, it was an opportunity to, even during COVID, they had live stream, lockdown, they had live streams and stuff like that. So, but we're just getting crickets. So, we've got this season to look forward to. We have Academy, which is kind of bittersweet. That'll probably be in first quarter of next year. And then we'll have an abbreviated final season of this show, 6 episodes. Probably this time next year, and then that's probably it. That's all we're getting.
And then Dunsky's.
Yeah,
aside from maybe we'll get a little bit more of an announcement about the film that they've been trying to do.
Right, that's literally the only other thing. I mean, it's kind of turning into Star Wars, which was kind of where Star Wars is at, which is what I talked about in my short. So it's bittersweet. I love seeing the variety of, like I said, they got a T-Rex, and then you said there's kind of a D&D one where they seem to be doing kind of the swords and sorcery thing, cowboy thing. Some of my favorite episodes of any of the shows have been the cowboy shows because I enjoy this. Spectre of the Gun and the Fistful of Datas. I've talked about how much I enjoyed that. So or North Star and Enterprise, which we talked about fairly recently. So I'm excited to see that. So we will find out. Screeners are going out. Kurt got his. I didn't get mine, so I'm kind of scratching my head about that one. But
I didn't get any, so I don't think I'm on the list. But
I don't think I have any. But if I can rectify this, because this happens every time a screener goes out, they're like, "Whoops, we forgot about you." So I'm going to drill down on that this next week, and maybe I'll have the opportunity to talk about you as well, because you should have it too. Because I know that Kurt has not. Respectfully, he said he's watched part of the season premiere and hasn't said anything about me, which I would be upset if he did. So
you don't want spoilers.
I don't anything
boo
of the sort. Boo spoilers. So anyway, we have this to look forward to. We're already lining up guests. I know that John from Screen Rant will be returning for talking about episodes 1 and 2. Our friend Sean Farrick will be returning to episodes 3 and 4. So you'll be seeing some of our regular contributors coming back to talk about the show. So that is that. But hit us up on socials. Let us know what you thought about the trailer over on at Secret Friends Unite, and then certainly my personal as well as at the C3. We'd love to hear your notes.
Yeah.
So, cool. Good deal. Well, continuing, new regular part of the show is talking about, you can't see it in the video because we're audio only, but you can't see it in the video. But I have replaced the old homemade badge I had on my microphone arm with a beautiful Star Trek The Motion Picture enlisted / Admiral badge from the wonderful people over at Fansites, which are a great sponsored product from the Trek Geeks Network. I have loved this company for about 5 years. It's an awesome family-owned business. Lou and his wife Amity out of Colorado. You will see them at Star Trek Las Vegas. You will see them at other shows that come around. But really, it's their online presence that is probably the place where they're the most easily found. And I would say, Peter, you probably agree with Miss. I would call them the cosplayer's choice of Magnetic Delta. So if you are a serious customer like Peter and I do, let's say you own Mimo Studios, TNG Top, let's say you own a Starbase 75 Monster Maroon, as I do. Peter's is homemade, but it's made from that material. You really want to get it right, you're going to Fansets. So that is where you want to go. They have a vast, wide variety of not just only Star Trek, but certainly other pin offerings, pin and magnetic, which, in a lot of ways we prefer.
Some really, really cool pins.
Yeah. We prefer the magnetic certainly for the uniforms.
Off my backpack.
Oh yes, and I think I lost one.
You gotta get another one because it just disappeared.
Gotcha. But that's easy to do if you not only go to their website fansets.com and you use the code TrekGeeks, all caps, no spaces, for 10% off your entire order. And also remember, if you spend more than $30, which is not hard to do, you buy 2 badges, and that's $30. You automatically get free shipping in the United States. So it's a can't miss offer. And again, they have been a wonderful partner, as I understand it, to the Trek Geeks Network for several years now. And
they keep releasing new badges, new versions
monthly.
So and you can keep finding really they've got some of the random pins that you see in the movies, a lot of the alternate universe badges, and I think. Oh crap! They also have the UFP medal that they have in the films, which is really hard to get. So it used to be. Now it's easy.
They did this like a real inside baseball one. They did the badge that Scotty had on when they were in 1986 in Star Trek 4. He was wearing like this very unusual, and like Jillian Taylor had one as well. So it's like they're really tied into the very inside baseball, super cool. Nobody's ever made it before, and they do it right.
Which is really cool because it's like, hey, now you can, if you want to do a cosplay for it, you don't have to go find an STL and print it and sand it and do everything yourself. You just, there it is, done.
Right. And you're supporting a great American company. Exactly. So again, fansets.com, use discount code TrekGeeks to save 10% off, and $30 more order will get you free shipping. So there's no reason not to do that. So yeah, awesome. Okay, let's get into the show. And talk about this week's random episode. So this episode was chosen by your friend of mine, Joe Colton, who is a network regular. You can find her on socials as Joe Colton Cosplay, and also in our contributor section on our website. Wonderful friend of ours, April, and I actually sat down with her and her group of friends when we were visiting my mother in Maryland a couple of months ago because they live nearby. But yeah, great people. But yeah, Joe did the randomizer several months back and picked this episode. This is an episode of Deep Space Nine from the first season. And again, we've talked a lot about, first season curse and legacy series. It's really hard to find a great episode, but I think we hit the numbers on this. So this is episode 13 of season 1, Battle Lines. A runabout carrying Kalpaka crashes on a planet of eternal war where it's impossible for the combatants to die. This was written by Hilary J. Bader, directed by Paul Lynch. First aired the week of April 25th, 1993. It was my junior year of high school. My God, does that make me feel old. Holy cow. All right, let's get into it, man.
Two yet.
You weren't even two. You probably still already watching Star Trek.
I was in existence at this point, but I was
in existence. All right, man. Talk to me about this episode. How you feeling?
All right. This episode has. I do like this one.
Yeah, totally.
It's got some good stuff going. I do. This is like the 4th appearance of Opaka, I think. Like she doesn't appear tons of times.
I really feel like she was in the pilot.
She's in the pilot. She's in like 1 or 2 after that, and then this.
I'm trying to remember what those are. I know that she does appear in flashbacks or
she appears in flashbacks later, but like
I think we'd have to get a judge's ruling on this one because I can't picture another time she shows up. Because when her successor becomes a character at the end of the first season, though not as Kai. So, I mean, are you looking? I feel like you're looking. You got a face like you're looking.
Taking a quick peek.
All right.
Let's see. She appears. She only appeared in the pilot and this, and then she's Visions in 2 episodes after this.
I knew it.
Yes, I was right that she has 4 appearances. They're just not. Right. This is not the 4th. This is the second.
And it's interesting because only with her, this is her, second corporeal appearance. So she was introduced to us, and then this episode she's killed off. Which sorry to get to the spoiler part of it from an episode from 33 years ago, but it's really first of all, I love how the episode kicks off. In the cold open, they had to put in something that's kind of a giggle. So you walk in, and I think Cisco and Odo and Dax talking about like they found an old computer file that belonged to Gul Dukat, and they're like, "Well, we found a bunch of Gul Dukat's old files, and there's a file about you, but you know what? You probably don't want to see it because not thing." And she's like, "No, that's fine. I can handle it."
I'm a big girl. I can handle it. Okay.
It cuts to something else, and then it cuts back to her, and she's totally out of sorts about what she read. So I thought this kind of must be what it's like when someone cracks out their high school yearbook and they're like my age. They're like, what the fuck was I thinking about with that hairstyle? Or like, I was in the band and this was with the band, or somebody wrote this like, you suck, so anyway.
I have had that happen where I have found a document that someone wrote about me that they didn't anticipate me seeing, and I found it and I read it. And I was like, So I have had this happen in real life. It wasn't quite as ridiculous as this.
Yeah.
but
oh my
God.
God.
It was one of those like, sometimes you don't want to know what people think about you.
Exactly.
So, but this is played for laughs. But
absolutely.
it does actually come up in the plot later, but it is played for laughs at the beginning.
Yeah. So I do love, so the Kai shows up. She's just kind of, and I wrote, oh God, Sid Alexander said he had such great hair. It was so 90s, so poofy, so tall, so 90210. But so Apaka shows up. She's kind of in a haze, like walking around, like she's thinking about prophet and orb stuff or whatever. And then she's like, I'd like to go through the wormhole. And they were like,
yep.
Okay. And I'm like, oh, nothing bad's going to happen here. It seems great. And then, they get through and they go through and Kira's like, well, we probably ought to turn around. And Paka's like, hey, I don't get out that much. So it's like, taking your grandma out for ice cream. And you're like, maybe we should get you back kind of quickly. But they get into, I stumble upon a planet that has a bunch of, this was the first like misnomer. I might actually knock a point off for this one because I gave this a very high rating, but I'm like, they get to a moon and there's these satellites coming at us. So instead of Cisco saying reverse course, he says shields up. So I'm like, what? I don't think you need to check this out because it's coming at you. It's angry, like it's like bad energy reading. So I'm just like, let's just get out of here.
Yeah,
especially since we have a high value
on the way out
passenger on this cruise that could get whacked. So, I mean, that's why he's just a commander. I don't know, but the big oopsie is that naturally it shoots them down, and and they crash. But we get kind of the hatch pops off and Cisco gets out. Bashir is behind him, and then they're dragging Opaka's body out. I'm like, oh, that's not good. Well, and I feel like they have them in the ship, but it's like you're going to crash. Why isn't everybody belted in like the astronauts on For All Mankind? Everybody's belted in, right? It'd be like we're going to crash. Yep. So. But yeah, it didn't work out. She broke her neck and she's dead. But I do love the line that Bashir goes, well, her upper vertebra has been crushed. And Kira's like, stay with us, Opaka. I'm like,
yeah, she's staring sightlessly into the sky.
Yeah, she's already dead.
A couple minutes.
Yeah. So, but Nana, and again, I was so happy to see Nana at Trek Long Island. She gave me a big hug, and we've had her on the show. She's been on the spotlight.
Nice.
Absolutely delightful woman, but she really nails the F out of her grief.
Oh
when
yeah,
Opaka dies. Opaka. I mean, and again. Did she even interact with Opaka in the pilot? I don't like. She has a relationship with Opaka going back to the occupation. We know this.
I don't think she did in the pilot. I think it was just Cisco because I don't think Opaka left Bajor in the pilot.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Well, it was because I think she remarks in this episode. They said, "Well, I've never really been any. I've never left Bajor before." Yeah. So yeah. So she and Kira have a relationship going back away. So that's pretty cool. But. We don't get a moment to grieve because things kick right into gear, and we get this group of like very Mad Max looking scuzzy people roll out of a cave, and their leader is played by actor Jonathan Banks, who is fantastic. If you've watched the show Breaking Bad, he was a character in that show. That is my friend Tamara and her husband Jay. That is their favorite show, and they finally got us to watch it. Have you watched it? We finally watched it.
I've been told I would really enjoy it. I just haven't gotten around to it.
We've been in the same place. It's very intense.
In part because I'm like, I'm not sure I'm ready for like the dark descent into just evil yet.
Yeah, it is very, very darkly descending. But I love like particularly so in the crash, Kira like cut her arm up. So the side of her uniform is like a little bloody and whatever it is. So she at one point just kind of gasps in pain and collapses in injury. So I just love right from the start, I thought Kira Kirk, like she had some and I don't feel like it went on much beyond the first or second season, that she had a lot of these like exuberant Shatner-esque kind of, I don't want to use the word overacting, but exuberance. She had a lot of Shatner-esque exuberance. There you go.
It's kind of a stage acting thing.
Yeah,
that's where Shatner got it.
Which is Nana's background without a doubt. So, but he's treating her and saying, "Well, I'm so sorry for Apaka dying," and she's like, "Well, she meant so much to me," and yeah. Excuse me. And but there's no time to wait because the enemies of Jonathan Banks' people attack. It's the Ennis, which is the people we're with, and the Knoll NS, very creative, that are these warring species that we come to learn they've been there for centuries.
Well, it's like the morgues and the eye-morgues back in
morgues,
TOS,
exactly. Brain. What is brain? So we very quickly find out that they cannot die. They're mortal as far as the way they can be wounded, but they die and then they kind of come back after 20 minutes. It's been going on forever. And Michael Westmore, God bless his makeup efforts, did a pretty great job of taking Jonathan Banks's character, who has long hair and part of his scalp is gone and it's all scarred up. He's got kind of like he lost an eye at one point, so he's got scar tissue over his eye. Kind of reminded me of the makeup job that our friend of the show, Connor Trenier, had as Mirror Trip Tucker in the Amira Darkly episode. But and then Opaka comes back and she's a zombie. I said, and I wrote cue the Thriller music, which was going to be the title, but I found a better one the further down we go. But Kira goes up to Banks and she's like, "You guys suck. There's no perimeter. You don't know how to fight and blah, blah, blah." And Cisco tells her to kind of zip it. And then he's like, "Well, we used to put up an effort, but it just doesn't really matter because we're going to get killed and we're going to come back. So we just don't give a crap." And it started to make me think of, and I just saw in the last few days that great episode of For All Mankind, where Danielle, one of the astronauts, quotes some of Kirk's lines from A Taste of Armageddon, which very much reminded me of this, going through the motions. This is just what we do. And it happened in both episodes, though, within Taste of Armageddon. It was about their, it was about their video game, bleep, blop, blorp, oh, you sunk my battleship. Where in this, they're just hacking and killing each other, over and over again. Cause it's like it ain't nothing to do.
Yeah.
So this was where I got the name of the episode, is that when Jonathan Banks's character is talking, and this may not be correct, but he says the name of the opposition's leader as, it sounded like Slango to me. And I thought that's a great name for a dog. So that's the name of the episode. Yeah. Slango. Oh, come on, Slango. Did Timmy fall down the well, Slango?
Yeah.
Beautiful monologue by Kira to Opaka about, "I've led a life of violence. I don't really know what else to do with myself." And she kind of collapses in grief. And she's just absolutely crushing it. Love seeing, I picked out two of the extras who were part of Banks's crew. It was stunt actor Tom Morga, who I've met. He was at Grand Rapids Comic-Con a few years ago and hung out with us. We chatted a little bit. He was a guest. And then Patricia Tallman, who was also in your Babylon 5. Wasn't she a character there? Or maybe in Farscape? I don't know. She was in one of those two shows.
Who was
Tall, very thin woman, red hair, but it's hard to tell. Trust me, she was in one of those two shows. Okay. But she was in the Star Trek. She was a Romulan at one point in Timescape. She was the female Romulan, but really not. And she appears as an Enterprise security officer like 50 times. She's not quite like our friend Tracy Coco as Lieutenant J, but she's definitely some. But anyway, I loved it. It's great to see, kind of some familiar faces when watching these old timey episodes. So the computer in the runabout still works, and Bashir's in there running some tests or whatever, and he's chatting Cisco up. He's like, "Yeah, I should have test results in a moment. We'll figure out what the deal is." And then another attack happens. Cisco's about to get whacked, and Bashir's like, "No, wait," and pushes him out of the way. He says, "You can't afford to die here." And then after the battle's over, he's like, these microbes are like nanites, and they're programmed to be environment specific. So if we take the people out of here, which Cisco had previously said, "Well, when we get rescued, we'll take everybody with you because you guys have earned your freedom." If they leave the environment, they'll all die. And they can't necessarily, there may be a way to deactivate them. And so that'll kind of be referenced in a moment here, where they kind of tell this plan to Jonathan Banks's characters. And he's like, "Okay, well, why don't you use them to turn it off for Slango's people, and then we can finally kill them." And everybody rolls their eyes. They're like, "Oh God, you just don't get it." And then all the meanwhile, Dax and O'Brien have approached another runabout, and they're doing some sciencing to figure out how to get past the thing. And they finally do. And they're like, "All right, we're ready to beam you out." And another attack is kind of broiling. So we know that Slango and his crew are coming back. And Opaka says, and Opaka makes a decision to stay, but which she kind of has to because she has the microbes and she'd die anyway. But she says, "I'm going to stay. This is my destiny to make peace with these people. I'm answering the call of the prophets." And I'm like, damn.
Yep.
I don't even wish we would have seen more of this character, because let's face it, the thing that makes this episode and then I do love the everybody beams out, and then the violence is starting. You can hear the yelling and shooting in the background, and things fade to black, and that's the end of the episode. So I love that this is what we got out of this character. It was very powerful. It was not overdone, and it referenced kind of setting Kira on a path, I think, to what she will achieve as the show continues to go on. So it's very hard to pluck something out of this first, because the very next episode is that storyteller one with So it's like, and then before that was the If Wishes Were Horses. So it's like there were a lot of really very lame, rated 5 or below episodes in the first season of this show. This one for me would probably be more like I said 10, but I would probably give a little shave. I'll probably drop it to maybe a 9.5. I don't know why I'm retyping it, because I always erase these notes when I'm done. But I'm like, for the record, I wanted to say, because I thought the way they got into it, where Cisco was like, oh, here's the it reminds me of Pitch Meeting. He says, well, why did that happen? Because that way the movie can continue.
Okay,
it was
right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
but
very much so.
I'm not trying to plug Canadian and Quebec native Ryan George's work, but his Pitch Meeting is an act of brilliance.
It's hilarious.
On YouTube, please do. There's somebody who I'd love to have on the show. But yeah, I thought, like I said, and I referenced in my wrap-up notes as kind of a taste of Armageddon. But yeah, in the first season of these legacy Trek shows, when we're talking TNG, DS9, and Voyager and Enterprise, you're going to have a pretty rough first season. You're going to have just these little, maybe you get 5 great episodes or 5 episodes you go back to again that you enjoyed. You know what I mean? And for me, this is one of them. And I kind of pinch myself, because I've not watched it in a very long time, but forgot how much I liked it. So what about you? Where do you land with this?
I'm probably landing on like a 9 for this one.
Yeah.
Similar reasons, with the fact that they got to this planet and crashed is just dumb.
Yeah.
Precisely. It had to happen, but it's just dumb.
Dumb.
Cisco, why did you make that decision?
Right. So that the movie could happen.
Yeah. So that's good. I do like the portrayal of Opaka, and not she's not downplayed or sidelined because she's a religious leader. And I do like that. And it's her skills are also useful in other contexts. And I like that. And I think that's one thing that Deep Space Nine does that's different from all the other shows. It's especially with the Bajorans, but treating the Bajoran religion as it's something that has some value. It's not just oh well, whatever. I did think it was funny because they go away from it when our favorite Space Karen becomes Space Pope. But
nobody would have cared if Opaka or if Wynn got dumped on the panel. You were good, F you.
Well, she wouldn't.
We're out of here.
She wouldn't solve the problem ever. She would get involved in the fighting somehow.
Yeah, exactly.
But I do think it's interesting that the costuming for this particular for Opaka particularly borrows heavily from the Eastern Orthodox sort of dress code,
good point.
Which I thought was kind of unique. When Wynn becomes Kai, it's different, but that's just something that I thought was kind of interesting. Rewatching the episode, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. It's been in the back of my head every time I see it, but it's that's right. So there's that. I did really like the whole bit with Kira, Opaka being you are not just a fighter. There's more to you. This is not just the only thing you can do. And so we see, like you said, there's that trajectory of her kind of growing that happens over the rest of the show. And this is, I wouldn't say this is the inciting moment per se, but it's one of the major catalysts to get her.
This probably plus Duet, which is one of the last episodes of the season. Absolutely.
Yeah. And these are the ones that kick her into gear, there's some solid stuff. Some of the stuff with O'Brien and Dax back on Deep Space Nine, and then the runabout looking for them, that works for us fine. I thought that the fact that there were prophecies about Opaka having this happen was kind of neat, because it then once again shows that the Bajoran prophets are they do have something. Right, there is something there. Right,
and we see plenty of more of that, in season 3. Yeah, the with the communications ray and the Cardassians, the three Vipers, whatever it is, it's a Tracor's prophecy or whatever it is.
Yeah, but it's just one of those like it's interesting that we do that because like Opaka's as she's leaving, she's like, "Here, O'Brien, take this and give this to your daughter," and O'Brien's like, "Okay,
okay."
So, but I mean, if the Pope came up and handed you something, hey, give this to your kid, you'd be like, okay, all right.
I don't have a kid,
Why?
but okay. Give it to somebody's kid.
Which hilariously, just because of the timing, like Opaka's sitting in the back seat, and like last week, the Pope was in the cockpit of a plane, like a 737. So I just in the back of my head as I'm watching this episode, it's like, this actually happened recently. It just didn't crash, which is good.
Right.
So it's just kind of a funny little tie-in. So, but like outside of that, really good episode. I did double check, and Patricia Coleman is in Babylon 5.
Yeah, Tallman. Yeah, Tallman. Absolutely.
Yeah, the audio was glitching, so I couldn't hear who you said.
Oh,
so
understood.
So I was like, "Oh, who is that?"
I thought, I definitely see. Yeah, was she main cast or maybe one of the ancillary
She was main
people?
cast, so she was not there for the first couple seasons. Like she was in the pilot, and then she disappeared, had a recurring appearance, and then then came back later.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
The conflict's good. It is kind of funny where it's the classic of like, hey, we're just gonna fight. It's like, you guys have been fighting for like 100 years. You didn't decide to like, we'll take Sundays off or something. Like, you're just killing each other all the time.
24/7, 365, choppity chop chop.
Yep. So,
my
great
gosh.
episode.
Oh my gosh. All right, well, let's go through some fun facts. The original concept of the episode involved a group of humans and Cardassians. All this has changed to the Ennis and Nolanus, so it not look like the characters had chosen sides. That makes sense.
Yeah, probably smart.
In an outtake from the first scene on the runabout, Avery Brooks delivered a line, "We'll be entering the wormhole in about an hour," instead of the scripted time of a minute. Brooks smiled at Camille Saviola, who is, of course, Opaka, and pretended to look at her watch, and she said, "Well, I ain't got that long. I got about 15 minutes." Michael Piller was pleased with the concept of the story of the episode. "I think it's one of the best premises of the season." I tend to agree.
That's pretty good.
He commented, "For all of those people who had written in and said we want to see more alien violence and sex," well, there was no sex. No. This is the episode. Hilary Badler is one of those people who just keeps coming up with a good, fresh idea after another. This was a great idea about a planet where you can never die. It's a great premise for science fiction. I thought it was very Star Trek-y. Show where we put Kaiopaka there, and she just becomes a fundamental part of the tale. It's about rebirth and resurrection and the spiritual, mystical things. One of the things that I felt about the season that I'm finding is that people react positively to the mystical component of the pilot of Deep Space Nine. I agree. I didn't do a lot more of them on DS9, but after we set up for the pilot, but Battle Lines is one of them. My feeling is we should find more of those kinds of things. I think they're more interesting than ships breaking down. Agreed.
Yeah.
Pillar was ultimately disappointed with the broadcast version of the episode. We had a show in the first season that thought it was a terrific script. That was not a terrific show, and it was Battle Lines. Thought it was a great concept, but the nature and direction of the performances made it feel operatic. Maybe. Nana's appearance, or some of Nana's mannerisms, I think were very operatic in this, but I don't care.
There was definitely some stuff that was a little edging on the quote unquote stage style, overly expressive, but I thought it was fine.
But real people react different ways.
But to be fair, I would take this over some other versions of direction that I've seen recently. So I'll just leave that there.
Kaiopaka leaves the Alpha Quadrant in this episode, making it her final quote-unquote real appearance in the series. She does later appear in the Collaborator and Accession in Orb Experiences and Orb Shadows, which is kind of what we talked about. Yeah. Let's see here. All right, some non-canonical stuff. Opaka returns to Bajor in the non-canon DS9 relaunch series after being encountered by Jake Sisko. I think I was reading those novels, but I think I stopped before I got to this one. But he's on the cover and she's on the cover of that book, or her name is in the back blurb where I read something at some point, so I had heard of that. Now, you'll appreciate this. The Star Trek Online expansion, Victory is Life, includes the mission Armistice, where Opaka has succeeded in forging a peace between the Ennis and the Nolanus and converting them to the Bajoran religion. She's a missionary. The player character is charged with evacuating the Ennis moon in the face of a Herc attack. Ooh. ancient enemy of the Klingons.
Yep.
And Apaka resumes the Kai ship after returning to Bajor, taking over from Kira Nerys, who accepts a Starfleet commission and commands the Defiant for the remainder of the storyline.
Correct. I played this mission. It's actually pretty
that's
decent.
very cool. I like that very much. For the first time in a long time, and you know what, I totally blame myself because I forget to ask sometimes, but I asked for commentary from our audience from social media, and we got one. Mark Flessa, who has been on our Facebook page forever, he's over in the Metro Detroit area, had to say, Battle Lines is one of those episodes where the main plot of the antagonists don't appeal to me at all, but the episode has 3 saving graces. 1, Kira's reaction to Apaka's death is incredible, much like we talked about. It is great to see a person get so emotional about a death that isn't a family member or a romantic interest that is almost unheard of in modern American television. Opaka's presence and how she handles her situation is wonderful. That character was written and acted like how I would expect a genuine religious leader should act. I can agree with that. Removing Opaka from the ongoing storyline gave us Kai Wynn, and that was wonderful, but horrible gift to the series. Yes. Agreed. It was kind of like Wynn needed to happen because look how it really delivered for the show. But yeah, this was great. We've got, I think, another random episode or 2 before we get to talking about Strange New Worlds. That'll take over segment 1. And a lot of those are picked, but we tend to shuffle them around. So I don't want to tell you what it's going to be because we might decide to shuffle it around again. Yeah. Because I love this because we have over 950 segments of Star Trek to talk about. And I'm always very proud, if you're listening to our show for the first time, that we have talked about every single one of them. That was the goal when I started the show, and we accomplished that either earlier this year or late last year. We got through the end of Voyager. Last season of Voyager, which was what we were, and newer shows we've talked about as they've been on, starting in the fall of 2020. So we've touched everything, but I love going back because, you know, even though I've seen particularly the legacy stuff does what feels like dozens upon dozens of time. It's been 30 years. It's been 35. It's been 40 years with a lot of these. Of the movies, you know, the movies tend to watch more often because they're movies, but yeah, it's been, 30, 35 years, and we're coming up on the 40th anniversary of TNG next year. So that's really wild. So we will continue to do this, but if you are out there and you would like to play the game, if you would like to be the chooser of a random episode, reach out to us on social media. I am happy to make a Trek Geeks new listener exception and bump you up in the order and let you choose an episode, and we'll dedicate it to you. So all right, cool. Okay. Back to the ranking game. Oh, yeah. We've been talking through the series, and again, we've been focusing on series that have ended so we can have kind of a complete picture. So we're not talking Strange New Worlds, not talking Starfleet Academy, and we've been going in order. And now we have reached Star Trek Lower Decks, the second. And again, we had the second animated Star Trek series, and again, I think very recently, if not last episode, we had an episode of Lower Decks we talked about. Yes, we did. Lower Decks came on the scene in 2020, I believe.
Yep, it came out during no,
a little bit after lockdown.
Yeah,
I think
because I had moved back to Grand Rapids when it first released. So
yeah. So to the delight of
earlier in the year, and then this came out in the fall or summer.
I've rarely met anyone who's watched this, whether Trek fan or not Trek fan, and didn't enjoy the heck out of it, because
I've met a couple who don't, but
it's very satirical, and it maybe if you take things a little too seriously, maybe it's not going to be for you. But you know what? I don't want to put people down. That's
you don't have to like it because sometimes for some people they don't want silly, and that's fine. I just also enjoy the camp. I agree. I can understand how someone might not like some of the irreverence,
right?
Because of who makes it, sometimes it does push the envelope a little bit, and I can see how that would make some people either upset or uncomfortable. But generally speaking, it doesn't do a whole lot of that, and it's just fun and silly.
Right.
So
it's fun and silly. But we're going to follow, if you've been following the show along, and please feel free to jump back if you're a new listener. We started doing this obviously with TOS, going back a few episodes, but jump on down and find your favorite. You'll find that in the show notes of our various programs. If you're looking on the Trek Geeks website or subscribed to us, those notes will show. But anyway, the format we have is we do a round robin. We cross over if we have the same one. We talk about it together. We keep it a little loose so the rules can be a little hazy. And again, we drop in a new one here and there. So we both have roughly 5, although I never prepare honorable mentions, and Peter does. So
I
Peter
did do honorable mentions this time because there were just so many. So it was just like, I'm just going to stick to 5.
Yeah, very, very smart. But anyway, so we'll do an episode we enjoyed, and then I don't want to use the word like a worst episode, but just an episode that we enjoyed. Perhaps less.
I mean, there's
less.
Perhaps one on here that we both really didn't like. I'm sure it'll cross over. But
I get the feeling. But all right, I'll kick it off, and I'm going to kick it off with an episode that takes us all the way to the end of the series, and it's a 2-parter. That'd be Fisher Quest / The Next New Generation. Which
I kept Fisher Quest by itself, but yes, it's on my.
Oh,
list.
You did? Okay.
Yep.
Well, we'll talk about this together. But The Next New Generation for me was a funny riff on Picard season 3 because it was the new generation and the next generation where I think the first and last episodes are transposed. So that made me chuckle. But this episode was a blast. It was kind of this Easter egg filled romp going through the space-time continuum and having to seal a fissure, and you had a crew from another reality mixed with our people, mixed with different versions of our people, and bringing back Jolene Blaylock as T'Pol, which
for the first time since the finale of Enterprise.
It's really a feat that no one thought they could ever accomplish, because much like Avery Brooks, she's an actor who's completely moved on from Star Trek, has no association. So this was pretty impressive. And I really liked that it gave our characters a touch point, leaving behind their 5-season journey, which really only took place over 2 years if you look at the continuity, in-universe continuity. But it took them from being lower deckers to serving on the same ship, but there's a new captain because Captain Freeman moves on to a new assignment.
Starbase 80.
Starbase 80. Woo! Ransom is promoted, and then our people don't get promotions per se, but then Ransom at the end gives both Boimler and Mariner the roles of co-first officer, which is kind of silly.
But in the same vein of Lower Decks, it
really kind of fits the bill and gives the opportunity for a spinoff. I was talking with friend of the show Heather Antos with IDW when we were at Trek Long Island, and there's a possibility. It sounds like Mike McMahon is potentially shopping this show to other netlets to potentially get it continued. But let's say that doesn't happen. Heather said that there could be a possibility this continues in comic form, which would be amazing. We had Vernon Smith, who is an artist who worked on the IDW Lower Decks comics fairly recently, and we absolutely love talking to him, and those comics have been very fun. So I would love to see what happens after the end of season 5. But that's my talk to me about Fisher Quest, since that's one of yours.
Yeah, so one of the reasons that I put that here is because it's one of the classic examples of how Lower Decks just loves the universe that it's in. Like it really does, and it really shows. Where they just they're pulling things out of like the back rooms to be like, hey, do you remember this? Like the CSV Enterprise. Yeah. For those who don't remember that, it's the ring ship that you see in a picture on the rec deck of motion pictures. It was a concept ship. But so Lily's using that to jump between universes, and it's Lily from First Contact, and they got her back to do that voice. It's full of all sorts of actors coming back to play themselves, play their characters, messing with tipping the hat at some fan fiction with Bashir and Garrick. There's all sorts of just ridiculous things that they do in this episode, and it also has a solid plot where you have Mariner and Boimler, the two versions of these characters, are talking to each other about how they miss the real world versions of themselves, which is it's nice to see that character development. Even though these are different versions, it's nice for us as the audience to go oh yeah, but that the character that I'm used to for the rest of the show does this, and so we appreciate the cast that we have, and so I think that this episode does that really, really well. And it's also just fun seeing all of the the Harry Kim's fight.
Oh my gosh!
Hey, that one's a lieutenant. Whoa! It's just so silly, and Curzon being Curzon.
Yeah.
So it's just it's just a really, really fun episode, and seeing Jolene Baylock come back for T'Pol was just really cool. Because I like when Enterprise makes a reappearance in any way.
Right. Agreed.
Because as I'm unapologetically an Enterprise fan.
Right. As well, you should not feel bad about that.
Exactly. So it's just,
love it.
It's just one of those, like, this episode really like tipped that Enterprise love big time, and then also just did a lot of just universe love, and just was a fun story. So
agreed. Absolutely. All right. Well, let's turn that smile into a frown and talk about a bummer. And Peter, I get the feeling we're going to land on this one, but season 2's Mugato Gumato.
Yep. That was the first one I wrote down, because like, I've got to find this one. I know this one I don't like.
And I don't know that you were with me when we were doing this one initially.
I was.
Okay, because I think we also
was season
had
2. I didn't do season 1 with you, but I was on the podcast when we got to season 2.
We had Rich and Aaron were my co-hosts at that time, and things ultimately didn't work out. But neither one of them really liked the show very much at all, which kind of colored my view of the show for a long time. And Kay, who was a co-host of ours for a long time, kind of turned me back around to it again.
She and I both were like, no, you should like Lower Decks.
Exactly, and I did. But this one, I'm going to stick with my take from back then. I just the random kind of gross out humor of two Mugato getting freaky and one guy watching them have sex. It's the wrong kind of funny for me. It's just it's not good humor. Even it's not good Star Trek humor. Yeah. It's not, because we don't have graphic sex in Star Trek. It's just not a thing. There's romance and there's people getting down, but this was just kind of like, this was very Rick and Morty kind of humor.
Yeah, and some of the earlier episodes do that. So, and like I said, like, it doesn't happen all the time, but this is one of those times where it does happen, and it's kind of like, They're kind of finding their footing, and I guess I get that. So it was kind of a bummer for me. I mean, it's got like the other plot is fine, where you have to find a compromise, and if it's a compromise when no one's happy, like, there's some good stuff in the episode, so it's not all bad. Like, we're not saying this is a terrible episode, but but the Mugato specific part is just so weird.
Yeah, it was weird.
That it's just I don't really. It's not my favorite. Like, there's good character development and such, but it's just the setting is just off-putting, I suppose, is kind of where we're getting at.
Yeah. All right, back to the happy.
Yep.
Season 3's Hear All, Trust Nothing. And I remember the tee up to this one in the promos for the season. Return to Deep Space Nine.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, we were talking about Deep Space Nine, obviously, in segment 1. But this gave us voice returns from Armin Shimmerman as Quark and our beloved Nana Visitor as Kira, who has a friendship with Jax, who is obviously one of our regular characters on the show. Shax? Why do I always want to call him Jax?
I don't know.
Oh, that's not.
You've been watching Arcane recently, have you?
Oh no, but
okay.
I do. Jax, and also Jax Pacific is the name of a toy maker, so I just have no idea.
There's two Jaxes that are now in pop culture, but I don't think you've seen either of them recently.
Oh right, then I have no idea. But this one's a lot of fun, and this was also the episode where we get the reason they're there is to negotiate bringing Ferenginar into the Federation. Yep. Oh, and we get the lovely Chase Masterson back as Lita, and then Ram Gradanchik back as Ram. So it is a like 50% cast reunion. It's really, really great. And it's fun. And that whole aspect of it is really a hoot. Ram kind of playing hardball with the negotiations.
Yes.
And oh my God, it was kind of delightful every turn. And the thing I remember the most is that, just keep flying around the station and looking in awe when they were orbiting.
Just gawk at the pylons.
Na.
It's so funny.
Na. Yeah, it was a good time.
It's one of the self-aware moments that I love about Lower Decks, where they're like, "Yes, audience, we know that you're so excited that we brought back Deep Space Nine. Look at it.
You must have it. It's for you. All right, what about you?
My next episode is season 5, episode 7, Fully Dilated. which is a wild title. But this is the episode where we have the planet that is time lock shifted. So they're going to retrieve purple data from the surface of the planet. And so Mariner is all set
Brent
to have,
is back.
Yeah, Brent Spiner's back doing data, which is enjoyable. But we have Rutherford and Boimler dropping margarita on the well, it's not a margarita. It's like this shrimp cocktail drink thing, but they spill it on the console, and so they can't get everybody back in time.
Oh my god!
They're supposed
like
to wait like 5 seconds and come back, and so it's like a minute and a half later.
It reminds you of that episode of The Office where the one character who's the big guy's carrying the big thing of chili. Oh my god!
Yeah, it's similar to that. But anyway, so like they get surgically altered to match these yellow horned aliens. They're like pseudo yellow Andorians sort of deal.
Right.
But they go there, they find the stuff, they clean up the mess, and then they can't leave.
Right.
And so Mariner's like, oh, I'm going to have like an inner light like Picard's situation. So she's trying to figure out how to have like this really meaningful life experience and just absolutely screws it up all the time. And it's hilarious. Ends up in jail, has like a soap flute. And hey, I like all these guys. No, screw you. Like it's just hilarious. But the big part of the plot is T'Lyn and Tendi are both up for science officer, bridge science officer.
Right.
So Tendi is taking this as like competition. I've got to be better than T'Lyn because whatever. And T'Lyn is just kind of like, I'm doing my thing. I mean, you find out that like she's trying to help in a way, and Tendi's just freaking out.
Right.
It's like Tendi's like manages to in similar to like Time's Arrow. She builds like a battery and powers up Data's head, which is hilarious.
Right. Yeah.
And then like. And T'Lyn is like growing giant vegetables to make hair lotion and stuff, so they can have money to live for the year and a half that they're on this planet,
right?
Which is just hilarious. And then they have this dude who's like following them everywhere, like conspiracy theory dude, but he's actually right.
Right.
So it's making fun of so many things. It's got some good stuff for like Tendi's character growth. It's got some fun stuff from T'Lyn. T'Lyn's probably my favorite character.
Yeah.
I mean, I love everybody, but T'Lyn is I just really like T'Lyn. She's a great character. Yeah. But it's just a great, hilariously stupid episode.
Yeah.
That's why it's on my top, because it's just funny. It really is.
I hear you. All right. Frown resumed. back to season 2, an embarrassment of duplers.
Oh, I thought about putting that on my list. I did. Yeah, I thought about it.
I mean, random Star Trek races can be dumb. But I mean, this was a show that made the Pakleds a genuine fun threat. But the duplers just. And they used actor Richard Kind as the actor for the voice, which is he's terrific. Mm-hmm. And so I'm not knocking Richard Kind, but
no, the performance is duplicating. Great, but it's just
when he just duplicates when he gets all nervous or whatever and jittery. It's just weak. I just thought, well, this is just dumb. Kind of a plot contrivance, and again, I understand the aspect of trying to do something different whenever you can.
It's also this one
just didn't land for me.
We can't do in real life. A dupler in real life would be live action would be bad.
Right. So that was it for me. Yeah. So all right, frown me.
Okay, one that I didn't like. I'm going to pick on season 5, which had some good ones, but I'm going to pick on this one. Of Gods and Angles.
Oh no,
because it's Romeo and Juliet or West Side. It's more West Side Story than Romeo and Juliet with how it's done, which yes, I know those are basically the same thing, but there are differences.
But of course,
but it's balls versus squares, and it's just
it's funny to see though.
Yeah, but it's just such a dumb and not like funny dumb. It's just it's just so stupid.
Oh my God.
Where it's just like, we don't like this because it has corners, and we don't like that because it's round. And they're like fighting about the shape of the pad and arguing about the shape of the table, and it's just, oh my gosh! Like there is a bit that I think is quite funny where we have like an ensign who's the same race as Apollo, but she's the daughter of Zeus, and so she can throw like rubber lightning at people, which is like that's quite funny.
Right.
You
see how it's hard to pick out a bad
yeah,
one.
like
It's just because there's
still
bits.
fun stuff in the episode. It's just
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
really like the A plot, the negotiation. I just kind of find dumb. And then in the end, it's like. Oh, we got married. Okay, here's our Romeo and Juliet thing, but they didn't die. And now we have a kid,
Right.
Square Ball or whatever his name is. And he's like half ball, half square. And it's like, oh my God.
What an abomination.
It's like, okay. And then that brings everybody together. Like, it's got some really
Right.
good shots of like the squares and the balls going after each other and shooting up the
The squares and
Cerritos. So like,
balls.
it's got some really fun
Right.
stuff, but it's just the
Right.
whole premise is just like, ugh. It's not my favorite. So it's not terrible, and it's got fun stuff, especially with the demigod. She's hilarious, and her power does
Right.
come up later and is important later. So this is a good introduction to the character. But just the A plot is just ugh. I just don't like it.
Blah. I love, and so does Peter, starship porn, and we get plenty of that in the season 3 finale, The Stars at Night, where we get this automated Texas class, and we get to fight them. Every California class ship shows up at once.
Yep.
And I don't know if you saw and I'm drawing a blank on the actor's name, but it came out a couple of years ago. But it was the Civil War, not the Marvel one, but the other one, where the insurgent body fighting the crumbling United States was the Texas California Union or coalition, and so that just made me think of this. I thought it was funny that putting the two against
They're fighting each other instead of that's kind of funny.
But I love that fun commentary on how AI is danger is very Skynet-y. It's kind of dangerous.
And you get another bad use the M5 computer. Like, come on, man.
Yeah. And we get another Badmiral out of this, and we do get Fleet Captain mentioned as a rank again, which I thought was interesting because they wanted to promote Carol to Fleet Captain of the Texas class, but ultimately, yes, it was very M5, and they shut it down. So it was very Star Trek-y, but I love seeing ships. I mean, like the episode of Prodigy, which I'm sure we'll end up talking about when we get to Prodigy very soon. That was the finale of the first season where they have all the ships assembled.
And the Enterprise was there.
Yeah. And the Enterprise could be, and it could be the incident that.
Well, unless the Lower Decks comic is to be believed, where they cloaked it and forgot where it was.
Oh, nope, non-canon. Sorry, Vernon.
You never know.
I had somebody ask me just today because there was a sidewalk sale at Argo, so I was flipping through comic bins, and Mick, who's one of the regular employees, found a bunch of Star Trek comics to show me that I already had, and he asked me, says, "Are any?" And I'm like, somebody finally asked me if canon comics are canon, and they are not.
They are not, unfortunately. Well,
yeah, the only thing that's
most
considered
of the time.
Well, yes. The only thing that is, just as a refresher, the only thing that is really considered canon in Star Trek is what is on screen. There is some gray area with 2 Star Trek Voyager novels written by Jerry Taylor because she's co-created the series.
Technically, the Star Trek Con audio series is also canon. So
technically, because it does show up on Memory Alpha, not Memory Beta, but this can be debated until the end of time.
Yes.
But I digress. How about you? Give me a good one.
Another good one. This one. Season 2, episode 8, I Excretus.
I looked at that too.
Yeah, so this
Very
one is
fun.
just it's another fun one. Yes, I'm picking some that are just kind of Easter eggy because I really think that they do this well, where they have all of these like training scenarios, and you bring up like the Borg, you bring back the Connie refit and the Monster Maroons with Rutherford, and there's just all sorts of just really silly moments where like the ensigns are learning to be commanding officers, and the commanding officers are, going back to being ensigns, and like, oh, I remember sleeping in the hallway. It's like, no, you don't. But but like it's just got some really fun stuff. There's a tie-in with with the main antagonist to the animated series with a character we haven't seen since Bem. So there's just a lot of fun stuff. It's another episode where the lower deckers and the upper deckers have to come together and just absolutely harass their test proctor. Like they get her to quit.
And she ends up being the villain too, doesn't she?
She's the villain. And so they're like, well, you just wanted to fail us, and so we'll show you what we really can do, and let's fly into a black hole, and like, oh no, we're in danger. Oh no, I'm passing you. It's all fine. And then it's like they just pop out. It's like, yeah, that wasn't dangerous at all. We just wanted to scare you. It's just so ridiculous. And then in the end, like Boimler had 100%, and then because he was a perfectionist, and then they had to keep him in the simulator so that she couldn't submit it, and so then he has to like keep failing, and then at the end he gets assimilated by the Borg, and hence the name I Excretus. Because originally he had like gotten in his simulation, he got the Borg Queen to like understand humanity and like become a nice person and all this stuff, and they did get Alice Krige to come back to be the Queen, which was amazing.
Yeah.
So it's another just fun, silly episode.
Yeah, agreed. All right. This is going to be a very short one because they stopped me short with the name of the episode. Moist Vessel from season
That was my next one, too.
I don't know anything about the plot, so you're going to talk about that. But when you put the word moist in something, I am out.
Fair.
I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out. Talk to me about the episode because I did nothing more.
Yeah, this one is the episode where Mariner gets promoted to lieutenant.
It's like self-sabotage.
She tries to self-sabotage, and Freeman is having none of it. Just like, no, we're going to work together. And they do end up working really well together. The other ship gets like taken over, and they have to like try to fix it. Doesn't work, but eventually they save everybody and get out. And Mariner does get herself demoted by acting like a doofenshmirtz in front of the Admiral, who says sensors instead of sensors, which is a nice callback to Leonard Nimoy's pronunciation, TOS.
Tuvok.
And Nimoy and Imrus did the same thing, which is funny. This is also the episode where we get the guy who does his ascension and then sees the koala. So which is funny, but it was kind of a running gag. It was like, okay, it's old. So there's just, I didn't exactly like the whole ascension plot. It was just annoying. And Mariner doing the self-sabotage. I did enjoy that part, but some of it was just a little weird and forced. So it's fine. Like it's not, I'm not saying it's terrible, but it's one of those like, all right.
Yeah.
So
whole lot of meh.
Yeah.
Well, I enjoyed the hell out of the season 4 finale, Old Friends and New Planets.
Mm-hmm.
And our Lower Decks really seems to shine with the season finale.
Oh, they do. I kind of excluded them from my list because it's like otherwise I would pick all of them, and it's like I can't do that.
Then I'm glad I didn't go with the exclusionary. But this was the one where we got the revisiting of the Nick Locarno character, voiced by friend of the show, Robert Duncan McTeal, or Robbie to his friends.
Yep.
And then just the very funny ongoing bit where they're talking to him on the screen, and you got Rutherford and Boimler sitting there.
I don't see it.
And Rutherford's like, he looks just like Tom Paris, and he's like. Boy was like, "Nah, man, I don't see it. And again, the Locarno did have like his hair was like graying. He kind of looked a little bit more like Reed Richards for the Fantastic.
Yeah, he was definitely
Bears
weathered and had like just stubble beard.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I love it, and I love it how the end of it, Mariner fakes him out and talks about this guy sucks, and it was a fun episode, and the whole it was the
Ferengi Genesis
the Ferengi Genesis device. That they put a paywall on it.
Yeah, you have to pay. There's a paywall to turn it off, and it's like, what? Boom! It's just so silly.
It was an absolute blast. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
So what about you?
My next one is probably going to be a weird one for some. Episode 2, season 2, episode 7, Where Pleasant Fountains Lie. This is the episode with Billup's mom. And the medieval starship.
Yes.
Because this one is just an absolutely absurd premise where it's like D&D cosplayers. Or, I mean, I think the analogy they use is Ren Fair people, but it's the same idea.
Ren Fair people, right.
But it's like Ren Fair folks somehow had a colony and then decide to go back to space, but everything's like all of the technology is referenced as magic. They have a monarchy, and it's so ridiculous. Like there's a point where like Rutherford is just making up words, and Bill just looks at him like, no, just don't. Like we call it magic over here, but you don't know the words, so just call it what you know. Don't make stuff up. So
the dragon's breath is the plasma conduit.
It was so silly. Like the B plot where his mom is trying. Well, it's not the B plot. It's the plot where his mom is trying to pretend that she dies so that he has to like have sex so that he can become king.
Take a wife.
Because it's like he's until he loses his virginity, he can stay away from the throne is like the whole thing, which is just ridiculous. But
Right.
so then they're like trying to seduce him, and it ends up not working. Like Rutherford supposedly died in the explosion, and then of course he's not, doesn't. But you have some nice like character moments with Tendi, because she's like realizes her friendship with Rutherford is really important to her, and she figures out what happened and all of that, and finds Rutherford in a meat hall eating chicken legs, and he's like, oh, this is great. So it's so silly. Some of this does come back like in other moments, and like it's referenced in some of the alternate universe stuff where like Billups is king later, but this is just a fun episode. It was taking a concept that we hadn't really seen before, and just taking it like, what if ridiculous people got into space? And I thought that was just a great thing to do, like, because every other time it's like you have other Packlands aside, you mostly get like people treating science as science and like they're being serious about their spaceships. What if you had just knuckleheads who was cosplaying,
like Packlands, like said?
So,
or like the Klingons, you don't figure out like how do they get into space? All they want to do is kill people, but how do they also have engineers?
But they do have scientists and do things, but they don't keep up this shtick of like, yes, I'm an engineer. No, I'm not an engineer. I am a wizard, and it's like, oh jeez. So it's just great. It's a fun episode.
Wizard. All right. Bummersville. Back to Bummersville, and this is weird because I feel like a lot of the series premiere I'm a little bit more into, but the series premiere of this was Second Contact, and I just didn't think it was great. I thought there was a lot of gross out humor in the B, kind of the B plot, which was the poisoning, and everybody turns into like
zombies,
black zombies thrown up. I watched this with my son, who's a little bit more on the sensitive side, and he had me turn it off. He just thought he was kind of grossed out by it. But I just felt like they were kind of trying too hard out the gate to like shock or awe, or like even in the cold open where Mariner is drunk and swinging a batleth around and cuts off a part of like Boimler's leg. I'm like, well, is this really what we're teeing up for? Any show is going to take some time to find his voice. Some shows will take 2 seasons to find their voice, the way that TNG did. So it's forgivable, but it gave me pause the first time I saw it. I'm like, is this just going to be ridiculous and like, and not in a great way? Is it going to be ridiculous, and is it going to be a bummer? So
I remember having a little bit of I like it. It was funny enough that I was like, I'm going to go see episode 2. But it was one of those like, but
right. All right. What about you?
So my next bummer is season 5, episode 3, The Best Exotic Nanite Hotel.
Right.
This one, I do like some of it, but the Jennifer relationship drama just kind of dragged it down for me, because
and it went on for a bit.
It went on for like almost like 70% of the episode, because the whole thing is like Jennifer's getting transferred, and so Beckett's just kind of avoiding her because it's like, oh well, we broke up and we never really talked about it, and so just kind of they just get a little catty with each other. I think that's the right word. But like they're fighting kind of passive aggressively, and it's just kind of unpleasant. The bit with like Boimler going off with Ransom to pick up this admiral is really goofy. Like that's fun, and that there's this whole thing of like, oh, you could like come back with no hands or something, because it's like Ransom just picks expendable people, so it's a riff on the red shirt idea.
Right.
So there is fun stuff here, and like T'Lyn being able to use like these musical tubes. I forget exactly what they are.
Oh, the tubes. That's right.
Yeah, and she meets like the guy who's like the Zen master of the tubes, and he was like, no, you did really well.
Like Jimmy Buffett of the tubes.
So like, there's still good, fun stuff in this episode, but the whole relationship drama just was like, bleh. It just annoyed me. And the nanites were funny, but it was just like it wasn't enough to make me go, oh yeah, this is a great episode. It was like, bleh. So
nanites an episode do not make. Well, what my final great one really echoed one of my previous ones. That would be Tuvix, which was season 4 premiere.
Yep.
So bringing back Voyager, kind of the same way we got DS9 back in the previous entry, packed with the Easter eggs, little references to the episodes like the
macrophage,
the macrophage, the pitcher plant, and then people getting merged by the transporter, and then And then that becomes a predominant plot that one of the merged people says, we're just going to, I think it's Meagley Mo says, we're going to do that with everybody. He's played by,
at first it's Meagley Mo and Tiana that get joined, and then just things go downhill from there.
Yeah, it was just an absolute delight, and seeing how excited Mariner was to be on Voyager, like she was the Voyager fangirlette, was awesome.
Yeah, no,
just absolutely awesome. So definitely
great
enjoyed that. So yeah, all right. Well, what is your final happy place? And then I have a final bad one. But, and
so do I.
You do too.
It might match, but we'll see. The last good one that I have was season 1, episode 9, Crisis Point.
Oh my God, I missed that.
So this one is the one where they're on the holodeck and they're playing through their own movie, where Mariner is basically working through her own like issues with her mom.
Right.
And at the end, we get Boimler finding out that they're related, which is hilarious.
Right.
But this whole like, Wrath of Vindicta thing is just hysterical. Like, and it also just makes fun of all of the films. Like, it plays with the original movies of like the starship porn where you're just staring at the ship. It's making fun of the lens flares from the JJ movies. Like, it's doing a lot of just really funny poking at the films. And then, but it's also got, the whole bit where like Mariner has to learn that she's part of the problem and see how she sees herself, and because she eventually like fights a holodeck version of herself because Boimler, a la Barclay, decided to pull everyone's personal logs so the computer could create accurate versions of the crew, so you could learn how to
am the goddess of empathy. Yeah.
So she learns like she actually cares about her people and about Starfleet, and so you see like this character revelation, which is really, really, really good. But it's just surrounded by so much silliness that's just it's just fun to watch because it's just ridiculous. And you do also get like, she's being way too much, and like Boimler leaves, and so then she has a holographic fill-in. I'm definitely not Boimler, and and then like Rutherford is like, he stops playing his role and just starts helping the Cerritos crew because that's just who he is.
Right.
And Tendy's just like, I'm done because you're making me act like a pirate, and I told you that's not what I want to do. So we're seeing like healthy boundaries and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Some Orions have no longer been pirates for up to 5 years.
Yeah. So but it's just it's just a fun episode that likes to point that has some solid character stuff and pokes a lot of fun at the films. So, but in a loving way. So.
Yes, loving. All right, wrapping up Bummersville, USA. I remember, and again, this ended up being a premiere. Maybe I like finales better than premieres because I was down on the season 2 premiere, which is Strange Energies. Cool seeing Frakes back because we got the Titan that came in the finale of season 1, and this is where Boimler had ended up there because he did kind of an under the cuff transfer. But the whole Godhead ransom thing was like, it was just picking on poor Jerry O'Connell too much.
Yeah.
And the ransom character, which is just the butt of so many jokes. So I felt it was a little hacky.
It kind of was. Yeah. I would agree.
Yeah. So, all right, finish us up.
Okay. The last one that I have is season 4, episode 5, Empathological Fallacies.
No, I think I passed by that one as well.
It's the three betazoids.
Betazoid spies.
So, like, we find out that like all of it's being caused because Talin's telepathy is going haywire. Okay, fine.
Talin's telepathy.
Yeah, Talin's telepathic trauma. But
TTT, triple T.
Yes, but like the betazoids are going nuts, and we all know how much I love Lwaxana, and they're just hamming up like all of the worst traits of Lwaxana for these characters, and so it's just So as much of like Boimler with the bear pack is solid, like solidly great and hilarious, but the betazoids in this just make it really hard for me to watch.
Right. So. Oh my goodness. Oh man. So good stuff. Our next series to cover, what comes after Lower Decks? Picard?
We did Picard, so Prodigy.
We
didn't do Picard, so Picard. And
we had a Picard random episode.
Yeah, that's what
I feel like Picard is, don't make me look.
Yeah.
Unless you want to look.
I don't have it in front of me, so I can't pull it up.
Because I forget things. But it'll be a surprise.
One of those.
It's one of those, because last ones we have are Prodigy, and Picard.
Correct. Yep.
I think
Mm-hmm.
because those are concluded series.
Yep.
So anyway, that's it. So good stuff. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. Peter, where do people hit you up on the socials if they want to pick apart your lower decks empathic and fallacies or
my empathological fallacies? Yeah. If you want to call me fallacious in my empathology, you can find me on most social media as Petrus_Aquinas. I'm on our Discord as well, where you can poke at me. I'm not super active on most things, but if you say, hey, I want to talk about this, then I'll probably say something. You can also find me over on ELH's Twitch, Discord, and YouTube, where we do Star Trek role-playing games primarily. We do other stuff too. Great community. And then you can also find me behind the scenes on Starship Excelsior.
Excellent. And I am on all the big social medias with the exception of X and TikTok. I am at the C3, TheCeeThree. I also mirror our Secret Friends Unite handles at all of those places. So you can find me there talking about this thing and that thing and posting fun memes and whatever it is. I'm also back on a regular schedule doing my little 3-minute kitchen chats where I'm chipping in, talking about stuff that I don't get covered on our regular shows. But yeah, that's where you can check us out. And again, Secret Friends Unite at gmail.com. Drop us a line. Let us know something that you're enjoying, if it's Star Trek, if it's something else. And again, patreon.com/Secret Friends Unite is a great way to just keep track of everything that we've got going on. I've been dropping videos, my kitchen chat videos over there as well, for our patrons to enjoy, just so you're thinking about us. And again, we could not be more thrilled for Code 47 to now be a part of the Trek Geeks podcast network. And I'm very excited to pop on over, please, to Fansets. Remember, use Trek Geeks to save 10%, and your order over $30 has free shipping. But with that is our program. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to tell you, as always, that sharing is caring, and to keep on trekking.
Peace and long life.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and podcast services around the galaxy, as well as video on our YouTube channel. You can support Secret Friends Unite by becoming a Patreon member, get bonus programs and more over at patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. Join our Discord community for even more discussions on all things geek. For all the latest updates on Secret Friends Unite, make sure to follow us on Threads at secret.friends.unite and visit secretfriendsunite.com. Find our merchandise at TeePublic and Redbubble. Thanks for listening, and may the Force live long and prosper.